Were you aware that there is something known as like stages of career, and you have to be aware of which stage of your career you at present you are in so that you can make the right progress? Hi, I'm Sophia Jogi. I'm a career coach. I help women make their career breakthrough from any stage they are in. I love working with women who need a mid-career breakthrough. Let's get straight to the point. In stages of career, there are essentially 5 or 6 steps, if we can classify it that way. Well, in the 5 stage career, we actually find that people are in a typical any sort of a job. But the 6 stage career design is more for the modern employment. There are essentially schools of thought where people talk about 5 stages of career, and there is a stages of career development. Okay, so in this session we are going to discuss about what is the philosophy behind the 5 stages of career, and then we are going to recognize in which stage what sort of action you need to take, and at last we are going to see how you can use this to take your next step so that you get the required breakthrough. Okay, so let's get started. Now, the 5 stage career, stage 1 is where they call it as an exploration stage. This is the very peppy mode where we get into any sort of job. Maybe we are out of college and we are trying to be very explorative on what we want, and we are trying to be very open to whatever options are available in the market. Okay, and at that stage, people generally tend to be open to any change or any challenge. Okay, that's more like an explorative stage. And the skill set by then is more like knowing what is available to them to develop themselves on and what the market needs of them. Okay, so that's a stage 1. And stage 2 is called the establishment stage, wherein you have already identified what is your you have identified what your skill is, and then you're trying to establish yourself in the market by trying to become an expert in that particular skill. Okay, the third stage is the mid-career stage. Now that's a very the very core of a person's life, because at the mid-career stage you're actually trying to figure out whether whatever you have established is what you want to do. Now, from the mid career part, there are multiple things that can happen. Well, I'll tell that in the next segment where we talk about stages of career development. But essentially, when you reach the mid career, you're already 30 plus. Okay. If you had started your job at around 25, you are already in the mid career when you reach about 35, somewhere around there. Okay. So, what is the challenge with the mid career? Is something which everybody has to be aware of and have to take essential steps even at stage 1, stage 2, and also at stage 3. It is never late to take a step at stage 3 as well. Okay. So at that point of time, we are actually deciding to see if this is what I really want to do. And if yes, I will be actually doing more of it, or should I shift to something else? Okay. Stage 4 is your late career. Now, the stage 3, where the mid career stage is what decides how you're going to retire from your job. Okay, so in the later careers, you need to know, in the late career part, you need to understand that you are more like a value adding person rather than a knowledge gaining person. Okay, so your stage 4 is more like a knowledge transferring person instead of a knowledge gaining person. If you look at if you look at these 5 stages that we have discussed right now, you also need to understand that your late career decides on how you're going to retire from your job. Okay, if you ask many people who go for a corporate job initially, everybody, I think almost 90% of the people say, I want to retire by I'm 40 years. Okay. That's when you're hitting your mid career. And that kind of mindset, I don't know from where somebody has built into everybody's mind that by 40, I have to retire and I need to have a financial independence. It's a good thought. But are we really preparing towards that? That's another question, right? So your stage one, stage two are some places where you can make some changes in your career to say, I am developing my expertise and I'm trying to establish myself in the market. Now, mid career is a place where you take a shift to say whether this is really what I want to do or something else that I want to contribute to everybody else. Your late career is more like a stage where people look at you as an expert and you have to contribute more towards people who are looking up to you. The latest stage, what we see here is the um, stage 5 is actually the decline stage. Now they call this a decline stage because at this point when you see people are already at the retirement age, they're already tired of their job and they have to take off. It's not about tired of their job itself, probably health wise or physically or mentally working for all these years. People just get exhausted and may want to take a break and may want to get back to their retirement stage. Now, when we say people want to get back to the retirement stage, what we are trying to say is that people might be much interested to work in something which is less taxing and want to contribute in a more subtle way instead of being very active and exhausting themselves in many places. So the next thing is the career development stage, where you have to see the 6 different stages and what steps you need to take in every stage of your career. Now, stage one, like we saw, is the exploration stage, where you really do your assessment on yourself to see where you really fit into, right? That is the stage when you really have to start taking some assessments and from your friends, from your colleagues, to see whether you really fit into it, what sort of challenges that people are facing, what sort of competency is required, and if you really are going to cope up with whatever trend is going on in that particular field that you have chosen. Okay. Apart from that, you also need to work with the career counselor so that you know your career path as to what is your goal and how you're trying to move yourself towards the um, end of your career. So, like every time you go to an interview, right? So, there's a question that's being asked: how do you see yourself in the next 5 years? How do you see yourself in the next 10 years? So, this question should not just be an answer to the interviewer. Ask yourself genuinely to see where you want to be. Work with a career counselor to see what are the career paths available to you. Okay, so that's some assessment you need to do while you're at stage one itself. Now, when you go to stage two, which is the establishment stage, where you're actually trying to investigate and see whether you are the right fit, and you're trying to establish your expertise in that particular place, right? So, like here, when we say establishment, you need to do an investigation and you also need to do a preparation. Now, unless you do an investigation and you prepare, you would not know whether you're actually establishing yourself in that particular platform. All right. Now, when you see the investigation itself, you can research the world work, how people have been in this field for quite some time, things like that. And you could actually ask people in that field who have excelled, and you see the way you see yourself in next 5 years or 10 years. Try to see, look at opportunities to talk to people who have reached where you are aspiring to reach and see what are the challenges that they have faced. Are you ready? Are you prepared to take up those challenges? Ask yourself. Be very genuine when you answer these questions. Okay. And this can be done through some informal interviews with your colleagues as well, like in the previous, like the assessment stage also, right? Okay. Now, in the preparation stage, you're actually trying to gain knowledge and experience by implementing things that you have learned, uh, and you're trying to say that I am also a part of this community who's trying to contribute to the society. All right. Now, at that point of time, you need to have a success oriented mindset. You need to have your goals ready, and you need to know that this is the goal I'm working towards. Now, the stage three, where you do the preparation of your mindset towards reaching your goal, is very, very important, because that, unless you have that, when you hit your mid career, which is the stage three, you will be lost. It's really happening when people are in the early stage. People don't realize that they have a chance to make the change that they want to make the change. Whereas when they reach the mid career, that's when people are thinking, oh, now what am I supposed to do? Am I with the trend? Have I really lost track of what I'm trying to do? Okay. So those questions, you can avoid those sort of things if you are really ambitious and you know what the goal you're going to reach. It's very important that you start networking at that stage where you are trying to commit. Okay. Now, you have done the preparation, and then once you have done the preparation, you have to take the commitment towards your contribution. Okay. So, the stage four, you're actually doing a commitment in the sense you have to do a job research, and while negotiating, and yeah, you have to do job research, do a negotiating, and accept a job offer. Now, all these things is something which you have to do even before you join for a job, looks like, right? So, in the modern age, even before you go for a job, you have to see, is that the way you want to go ahead with, or you are thinking, okay, maybe halfway through I want to change to something else. Okay, so those kind of decisions need to happen quite early in your life, and especially when I work with women to help with their career, what I really understand is, especially Indian women, they are really not in a position to make this decision. Mostly, women take things as they come. So, you need to know what sort of commitment you're accepting to, and you need to do your job research based on that. And the stage five, it is called the retention. Okay, when we say retention, which means you have to provide first class customer service, right? Anything, whichever field you are in, ultimately you're serving a customer, right? So you need to think about the end customer in mind, and you need to see if you are providing a first class service to that person. Okay, and you need to start building a professional networking. According to me, the professional networking needs to start even when you are in the preparation stage, not when you're in the retention stage. Retention stage, you will have a lot of people who are in your field, and you'll start building a deeper relationship with people. Okay, but networking should start even when you are in your exploration stage, because that's when you get contact of people. They may not take you seriously because you're not yet in the market, yet you need to have a contact with them. Just say a hi and just keep in touch with them. Okay, so that needs to happen even when you're at stage one. Finally, there is a transition stage where you want to make a career change. Okay, when you think about making a career change, maybe you're trying to resign your job and get into some other job, or you're trying to take a break and rejoin after a while. Okay, while that sort of transition is going to happen, you need to develop resiliency, right? So, having said that, all these sort of career development stages need to be something which we should be aware of. So, these are the career stages that you need to be aware of. One is your stage one is your exploration stage. Second is to establish it, and then the mid career, late career, and your decline. Given these five stages of career, the whole aspect of career coaching comes handy when you are really confused. But one thing I want you to do right now is I want you to analyze where you are in your career stage. Okay. So I pretty much see that in India, the career coaching industry is not something everybody thinks of looking at. A career coach is somebody who can help you with moving ahead in your ladder, okay? And not all of us get a career coaching. I'm going to make a new video to say why career coaching is important, and I would like you to subscribe to the channel so that you get some good updates in the future when I make some good videos. It'll be helpful for you to analyze yourself and get to know where you are and how you can improve your career positions, and what is that you need to do at this point of time so that you really hit the market the way it needs you. Okay. Now, so having said that, that's your career coaching part where you have to find somebody who can coach you on your career. And the third thing I want you to do is please register for the live webinar. It's coming up end of this month. I'll leave a link below. Please go ahead and pick up the free tickets and we will meet. I will meet you there. We are going to discuss three secrets where why career coaching is really going to control the whole market. Okay, and we will see how you can be benefited and you will actually get a lot of value from the webinar. Okay, it's free. Usually I do this session for about 1,000 rupees, but because you're already here, please go ahead and take this. It's free of cost as of now. Second thing I want you to do is to join my Facebook group where we are just going to discuss and provide a lot of value. It's a valuable content that you can really refer to and use it in your personal growth as well. Okay, so I will leave the link below for the live webinar and the Facebook group. Please go ahead, subscribe for that. And thank you for staying all the way till the end of this uh, video, and I love to see you in the next video as well. Please leave your comments and please write down what is the key takeaways, understand where you are and what steps you need to take so that at least at this stage of life where you might be in the early stage, you might be in the mid stage or in the late stage, doesn't matter. At least at this point of time, there is a chance that you can move up. Okay, you can just tweak yourself very mildly because you're already there with some experience, right? If you think it's late, no. You already have accumulated all the experience that you have to, which definitely people who have just joined don't. And they definitely need your guidance. So there is a chance for you to move up as leader. And if that technique is something which you need to understand, definitely please go ahead and subscribe to my live webinar. See you there.